Avoidance disguised as emotional maturity. Are you actually emotionally mature, or are you just avoiding? The impact that impacts trust, carrying the load, manipulation, boundaries, and covert contracts. The emergency poop story, erectile dysfunction. Avoidance disguised as emotional maturity. Are you actually emotionally mature, or are you just avoiding? Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys, where we are going to be clear. This is not about attachment theories today, okay? There are people that do. There are people that don't. There are people that work hard, and there are people who like to say they work hard. You know how we know? People who work hard don't have to say they work hard. It's obvious, okay? And so emotional mature people, well, I think this is a bit of a joke because I don't think there's too many people that have actually done any work to become emotionally mature. I'd like to just rewind for a second, and I want to get really raw with you guys. And this is gonna hurt some of you. And that's never bothered me before, but
does it bother you now?
No, it doesn't, but I want you to get somewhere with this thought process, okay? I want you to understand that it doesn't matter how loving your parents were, how great of a childhood you think you had, the fact that your parents are still together and dad loves mom so much and opens her car door and all this shit still. Like whatever positive that you can find, you still were not emotionally mature. Emotionally mature. How do I know? Because you're listening to this fucking podcast. Okay, come on. It is never a one-sided thing. And if you can get sucked into drama from your partner, you're not emotionally mature. If you can shut down, i.e. the title, avoid, if you can run and flight mode, get in flight mode, go for a drive, if you can justify, I just need a few minutes to just cool down and then fuck off and avoid.
Instead of come back, right? If you can choose to not let your partner know what's going on during your day to day, I mean, I can go on and on and on. You're not emotionally mature. Now, I know this is gonna be hard for a lot of you to understand because a lot of you think it's your partner's fault. Most of you think it's your partner's fault. I thought so.
We all do. Mm-hmm. That's what happens because we're not emotionally mature. If Kathryn and I get into an argument, there's constant reflection. There's constantly going, okay, shit, I was protecting myself. Okay, I'm working really hard on that right now, but I could have done that better. Okay, I said that, but I didn't mean that. I meant, wait, I was acting out of this emotion, but actually the root of that was actually this feeling over here. Okay, these are signs that I'm emotionally mature.
And can I just say, even if you are more emotionally mature than you used to be, mm-hmm. or more emotionally mature than your spouse, or more emotionally mature than anyone you know, mm-hmm. there's still room to get more mature.
100%. I made a post on my story that I'm putting a new inspirational quote up every single day now with my cold plunge. It's the first thing I do in the morning. Okay. And well, that's not true. I post and then I do the plunge. But anyway,
first he pees.
Okay. First I pee. Then I do my
coffee.
You know, what are those
supplements,
new things that we're taking?
Peptides.
You know. And
see, he's
there's
still
a bunch of things.
Lying to you guys. Just kidding.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
So.
So good, baby.
All right. Essentially, no, I lost my
the inspiration. So in the cold plunge, it's one of the things you do in the morning. You make the cold plunge post to inspire everybody.
I want you to understand this. The post that I made, you need to get is this, that I said, I think of myself as a 1. I want you guys to think of yourself as a 1. We recently heard this. We loved it.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. And the reason is not because I believe we're 1s out of 10. Like, get fucking real. Have you seen this woman next to me? Have you heard this woman speak? Okay, you should see her with our life. But listen.
Thanks, baby.
But if we're 1, you're welcome, baby. If we're a 1, then we have room to grow. Now let's go back to the beginning when I talked about it doesn't matter how wonderful your parents are. Yeah.
So I've been teaching this. So we just recently learned this with our new coach. So we talked a little bit about working with Andy Elliott. It's life-changing. The things that this guy is teaching us, and it's the perspective that he teaches with. It's not just that he's teaching it, because a lot of the things that he teaches we've all heard before, but it's the way that he teaches and the anointing that he carries when he teaches it, and his wife as well, Jacqueline. So this is the way I teach it. So I always say strive for perfection. If you're not striving for perfection, you're never going to be the best that you can be. Where society tells you don't try to be perfect, I say I call bullshit on that. You should try to be perfect because that's what's going to get you to your highest level.
And not only that, but even forget that, because a lot of you might not have heard that you don't have to be perfect. You should be loved for who you are. That's what that all means. But there's
Bullshit.
also the whole, bullshit is right.
Yeah.
But there's also the whole, like, who you hang around with. Like you hang around with a 9-to-5 or who fail at a business once and they're like, no, it's not worth it. You want the security from your job.
Yes.
And so you never go make more money. That's the same thing.
So you don't
can
want to
have
strive
more.
in a negative way, but you want to surround yourself with people that are better so that you do have something to strive for, that you should always push yourself. So I always say I'm like 98% there. And I've said this for the last probably 2 years.
2 years, I think.
The first year I was like, I think I said 97. So I'm growing. But anyway, it's a humbling thought when you think about, okay, how do I balance the fact that I know that I still have room to grow? So that's why I say 98%, because I want to encourage myself, because I used to be a fucking 0%, just like you guys have been at one time. Or
And I was like a -10.
Like, so maybe we either were or are right now, or you're trying to get there. And so when you get to be that person let's go back to that emotional maturity, you are more emotionally mature. You're making good decisions. You are a rock star in communication. That's how I think about myself. I want to make sure that I'm edifying myself, because sometimes when you're in crisis with your partner, which we're not in crisis, you have to edify yourself. When you're doing well, he edifies me all the time. Did you see the way he just spoke about me a few minutes ago? He was like, look at this woman next to me. Have you heard her speak? He's always edifying me. We try to edify each other. But you have to be your own biggest cheerleader. And so you have to rate yourself at something that is like, you have to recognize and be confident about your achievements. So how do you balance? I want you to always think, I want to be perfect. If I would rate myself a 1, which I'm going to talk about that in a second, because what he said is absolutely valid and correct. But if I rate myself a 1 and I'm striving for perfect, I'm going to kick myself in the fucking butt, because I'm trying to be perfect and all I can do is a 1. So I want you to strive for perfection, because that's what's going to get you to that 98%. I can tell when I'm not striving for perfection. I can tell when I'm complacent, because I'm not 98% Kathryn. I'm vicious fucking type 3 Kathryn. I don't want to be that person. So I'm always going to be looking for that 98%. Having said that, there's a balance between, okay, I'm striving for perfection and I'm really close, but I can never quite get there, because you can never get to perfect. And balance that with, I'm a 1. Why? Because that gives you so much more room to grow. So in your mind, you somehow have to balance, okay, well, Kathryn said, and you have to rationalize this in your own brain.
No, I can do it real quick. Yeah.
He'll tell you. So you have to rationalize, how do I get closest to perfection while being my absolute 98%? I want to be 98% like Cass. I want to be 98% like Kathryn, but I want to humble myself and realize, hey, there's so much more room to grow. So I'm only going to give myself a 1 out of 10 somewhere here in the background. But really, you're functioning at a fucking 9.8 out of 10 and 98 out of 100. Do you know what I mean?
Here's how
Does that make sense, honey?
Yeah, this is why we can tie it to emotional maturity. It takes a solid person to recognize how great they're doing and still humble themselves and say, I'm a 1, and see, how could I do everything I'm doing great, do that better? Okay? And here's a real way. This is what I said a minute ago. I said, well, I can do it for you. Here, let me do it for you. How many of you stop and take a break from the goal that you had? Maybe watch TV, maybe grab some
Because you think you reached it, maybe?
You know, guys, we had a crazy breakthrough. On Fridays, you guys watched as many episodes as you normally watch during the week. Remember, if you heard this podcast, I know you're fucking lazy, taking breaks on the weekend.
Very angry
I'm
about
very
you
upset
guys
with
not
you
watching on
guys,
the weekend.
because on Saturday and Sunday, less than half of you actually continue learning. I can see the downloads. I know how many come on every single day of the week, and you guys have picked Friday up. I'm proud of you. Why do you still want to fucking break on Saturday and Sunday if your life is not what you want? Broke, marriage sucks, number 1, that's why you're here. Marriage broke is probably a big one. Health is, like 90% of the people that join our programs, health is an issue. Okay, I had my first guy in quite a while ago. I don't need that. I saw you're working out there with the crew, because we all work out with them right now. Like, and like, I don't need that. Oh, no problem. And I said, you haven't been onboarded, and I guided him. Why? Because he's trying to figure out the next level. In his case, it's relationship. If you want to be considered emotionally mature, your first thing is, it's not even checking out and shutting down. Your first thing is looking at, how can I be 150 or 200% better than I was? And most people are always like, that 1% better today than I was. Most of you can't even do 1%. So you sure shit better be trying for 5, 10, 150 or 200, because then at least maybe you'll hit your 1 fucking percent, because you know you're gonna take a break on Saturday. You know you're gonna start partying again with the drinks. You know you're gonna watch a movie. You know you're gonna put your face down and go to sleep next to your children. You know. You say you're so great. Unless you are leading, you're not emotionally mature. The world needs leaders. You're listening to this podcast. You want more, and you just blame your partner. So if you, that's really what I want to leave this with. If you're so focused on blaming your partner, your boss for your shitty wage, dealing with a woman right now who doesn't have enough retirement for herself, you made your own fucking choices. Like, good God. When you decided to spend your money on this personally for a vacation, let's say, or that for whatever with your kids or whatever you do with your money, when you decided not to take a risk and be an entrepreneur for yourself, when you decided to work 9 to 5 for somebody else and rely on your spouse, if you don't have a job, also rely on your spouse, you make your own choices. So unless you stop blaming your partner, your boss, McDonald's for your fucking body weight, the whoever makes the wine, what do you call that? A distillery, you know?
Winery.
The winery, like
Blaming the winery. Can you imagine?
Oh, honestly.
I would like to thank all the wineries, by the way, if anyone's listening. I'm not blaming you.
Or a winery, she'd like a bottle. I prefer red if you are sending it to her.
I like Prosecco.
Excuse me, but you see what I did there? I prefer red if you are sending a bottle. But she likes the white, not
Oh,
Chardonnay.
red makes me romantic, though. That's why he ordered red. Okay. Tap the couch.
Okay, listen.
Oh, gosh.
The blame is seriously out of control. And I did use the winery. And it's because I remember living in wine country in Canada where people would talk about it. It'd be so easy to be doing more of what I wanted if the wineries weren't here. Guys, you're avoiding your own life. Never mind your partner and wondering and questioning their emotional maturity. You don't have emotional maturity. You might think you're better. We met a lot of people that are really great with communication, expressing their feelings, their needs. They do very well. And you know what? They suck in a lot of other areas because they think they're so great there. They give up on the rest and demand or expect or therefore blame their partner. That's how I know you're not emotionally mature. Why? Because when we come to each other, my favorite newest example is the one where after hiring Andy, and he's like, "You break shit, Cass." And I was like, "Yeah, baby, I break shit." She's like, "I know. You know, I'm there for you with work." Blah, blah, blah. I said, "No, with us." And she's like, "Yeah, but I see it coming a mile away." Right? You guys remember me talking about that example? What did we both do there? We both took responsibility. Who's more emotionally immature? Does it matter? We're connected. We're both taking responsibility. We're going up. What are you doing?
Blaming your partner. And when you blame your partner's 90% of the problem. You're 10% of the problem. But what did we learn? You're 100% of the solution.
You have a superpower.
So you should be blaming your partner. Blame them. That means you can take responsibility and be 100% of the solution. I know that sounds so backwards, but...
Well, maybe you need to join our programs because backwards is working to disrupt divorce. Backwards is flipping society's notions, and backwards is making us the fastest growing podcast in the world. Guys, please like, share your favorite episodes, get more. We're now in 155 countries.
Wow.
Isn't that unreal? That's because of you guys sharing and liking the love. By the way, if you're catching this, September 15th, my book will have been out one full year. We are trying to beat, I know it's not crazy amount, but it's 5,000 books that we've sold in this last year.
It is a crazy amount.
Well, considering most books sell 100, I was hoping for like 100,000, but hey, we'll get there. But guys, we're like a few short. If you're catching this and you haven't bought Disrupting Divorce, and by the way, you should grab Kathryn's Behind the White Picket Fence. They go so well together. Please support us. Please grab it. And if you have, guys, you know what would make more people buy them is leaving a review on Amazon. That's why we encourage buying on Amazon. I prefer to sell it from the publisher and support the small business. But like, come on. We want you guys to find it. That's why the reviews help us. So please and thank you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys. Get emotionally mature, starting with yourself and what responsibility you can take. And then you won't be avoiding shit because you will especially not be avoiding who you are and your responsibilities. And now you can lead your partner. Go get your life.
Bye.
See ya.